Hey boys and girls, how are y'all doing today? Today's going to be our vocabulary lesson, which should be day 2 for you. You should have read the Storm book with me yesterday. And today we're going to go back to our reading a little bit. I know yesterday we talked about the natural disasters. Today we're going to go back to our reading and go over our vocabulary because some of these vocabulary words are very important and you're going to be reintroduced to those in 4th grade. So I want to make sure you understand those, and then we'll work in some of those natural disaster sciences into our reading this week. But today we're going to go ahead and do our vocab because good readers know that we can look at prefixes and suffixes or root words to help understand vocabulary. And when we're reading, we need to always try to better understand vocabulary, and the more you're introduced to vocabulary, the more you'll be familiar with these words, okay? So here are our words for today. Our first word is reward, okay? And when I see reward, I think of a prize. Like if I go to a fair or something like that, if I do good, then I get a reward. And little kids think always in a reward state of mind, okay? They always think, and when Lily Grace was little, if she did anything really good, she thought she should get a reward. So that word is reward. You should be able to use that one in a sentence. It's pretty simple. Our next word's a little harder. This one is anguish. Now, when I think of anguish, you should always think of like a great pain or a sorrow, okay? And we're going to read a story in just a couple of minutes, and you'll be able to kind of use this word in the sentences that they give and understand it a little better. Just think of it being like a really big something that hurts really bad or something really sad for somebody would be anguish, okay? Our next word is obsessed. And I've heard you guys use this one in the classroom before, so I know you probably already know what it means. But it means to have a really strong like fixation on something or to be really interested in something. Like if you really love playing Fortnite or playing Minecraft or something like that. I know that's some games that some of my boys keep talking about they like to play. You could, if you just can't get up and clean your room and you don't even think about the last time you ate because you've been playing so long, then your mom might come by and say, you're getting obsessed with your game, you're going to have to set it to the side for a little while. Okay, so that may be a word you've heard in your house during this little break. Okay, the next word is necessary. And you've probably heard this word a good bit during our break because it's like something that is really needed or essential. We've heard that word a lot. Essential means it is something that has to have someone. You may have I know Bryant's mom works in the medical field, and she would be considered necessary. She is essential to go to work every day. I can teach at home, okay? So it's not necessary for me to go to the school right now, and hopefully keeping some of you guys safer and all of our families safer, but some of our parents may have jobs, or you may live with somebody or know somebody that are considered essential or necessary. They have to go to work every day. Okay, our next word is treasure. Okay, treasure is something that is valued or precious or means a lot to somebody, okay? And sometimes your treasure may not be the same thing as my treasure. You may have something at home that somebody gave you that means a lot to you, and that may be a treasure to you that I wouldn't have thought of being a treasure, okay? I have something that I have a little snowman that my grandmother gave me that was her mother's, and they've passed it, down through generations, and when Lily Grace is older, I'll probably give it to her. To me, it's a treasure, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be worth a lot of money, but it can hold special value to you for sentimental reasons. Okay, our next word is wealth, okay? And wealth is money or riches that you can have. Like if someone is wealthy, they maybe have a lot of money or have a lot of cars or a really big fine house. That would be considered to have a great wealth, okay? The next word is possess. Okay, now to possess something means that you have or own it, okay? Like I possess a white car. Anything that you have that is yours, that you have ownership of, you could say I possess, okay? And the last word for this week is alarmed, okay? Now, alarmed, I know we do drills at school, and we have a fire alarm, we have a tornado alarm, we have the emergency drill. That's my root word in there. So if I am alarmed, then I know that I am worried, or there's something going on that I need to try to fix really quickly. It means, to have that worried feeling inside, okay? Now we're going to read a little story together, and the reason I wanted us to go ahead and read this story is because we haven't read one like this. It doesn't have anything to do with our natural disasters, but this is a Greek mythology story, and it's actually written in drama form. So in other words, it's written in like a play script. It's written like, it's written with, it will say who is speaking. Instead of saying, Miss Walker is speaking, it would just say Miss Walker, and then you see a little colon, and then you see a sentence of what I'm going to say. So it's a different form of reading, and if you've ever been in a Christmas play or something like that, maybe at church, you've probably seen a play written out like this. And back in old times, especially in Greek mythology, and Shakespeare wrote like this, a lot of poets like to write like this, you'll see this type of a setting. So I wanted to introduce this to you so that you can kind of see, in comparison to reading a normal story like a narrative fiction or an informational text, how this is set up a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you the page, and then I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about a little bit more. Okay, so here's our story, and it's called Athena and Arachne. Okay, and of course up here it tells us it was a myth, and it's written in a drama form. Okay, and then over here at the top you always have, and sometimes it'll be on a page by itself, depending on how many there are, you'll see who the characters are going to be. So if we were doing this in the classroom, what I would do is I would pick 5 different students to be each of these. But of course I don't have 5 students here, and I only have Lily Grace, and she can't read this with us, so I'm going to go over it with you. But just imagine each time it says one of these, it's a new person talking. This person will be who is speaking, okay? So this little, do you see how these words right here are kind of slanted a little bit? They're italicized, okay? And this would be that no one would speak this. It just tells you what's going on in the story, okay? So this is scene 1, and this is going to tell us where it's happening. It says it's happening in Athens, Greece, a long time ago at Arachne's home. So now we know what's going on, where we are. We don't know a specific time, but we know that it's a long time ago, and it's happening in one of our character, Arachne's home, okay? And it even told us up here that Arachne is a weaver. So she weaves, it looks right here, you can kind of see she's weaving a rug, okay? And then it says that Diana is Arachne's friend, and Athena is a Greek goddess, okay? Now, this is Greek mythology, okay? Now, mythology means it was just a fake story that was told long ago. Doesn't mean we believe all this or that. Remember the story that we read about the Roadrunner, where the desert woman was a goddess that made a roadrunner from different animals, used their strong points to them, and created a new creature. And we talked about that. We didn't really believe that's how animals are formed, but it was just a fun little story for us to read together. This is the same thing, okay? I'm not saying I believe in this necessarily, but it's just something that was a story from long ago, okay? So it can be a pretend story in your mind, okay? All right, let's get to reading. So the narrator will start out reading and says, long ago, Arachne and her friend Diana sat weaving. Diana says, oh, Arachne, that cloth is so beautiful. Arachne admires her cloth. And that looks kind of like what she's going on right here. Arachne says, I know, many people want to possess my cloth, but few can afford it. Only those with great wealth can buy it. Diana says, yes, it's true that people value your cloth. It is one of their most valued possessions. Your weavings are a real treasure. Some say that you learned your weaving skill or talent from the goddess Athena. Arachne, it was not necessary for me to learn from a goddess. So she's saying it wasn't needed. It wasn't something she had to learn from a goddess. I was born with my talent. I'm a much better weaver than Athena, and I'm sure I could beat her in a weaving competition. Okay, so what do you see going on? We've got Arachne who is very proud, very boastful of her weaving skills. Okay? Diana is worried. She stops weaving and she looks at Arachne. Diana says, "Shh, I hope Athena isn't listening or you're going to be in big trouble." Arachne, nonsense. There's no reason to be alarmed or worried. Athena is much too busy to come down from Mount Olympus to compete with me. And in Greek mythology, Mount Olympus would be where all of these Greek gods would live, okay? If you've ever seen the little cartoon Hercules, that's where Zeus was. He was up on Mount Olympus. Okay? Scene 2. So now we're in a different place, and it's going to tell us right here where our new scene is taking place. On Mount Olympus, the home of Athena, and a messenger arrives and says, "Goddess Athena, I have news from Athens. The weaver Arachne says she can beat you in a weaving competition. She's obsessed with her skill and thinks she is the best weaver in Greece." Remember, obsessed is that she thinks she is the best, thinks that her skill can't be beat. She is just totally absorbed in her own skill. And then Athena says, "I'll show her who weaves the finest cloth. Her obsession with weaving must end. Please get me my cloak." The messenger hands Athena her cloak. See how that changed to italicized and it was a little bolder? It's because it wouldn't have been spoken if this had been a play carried out on stage. The messenger would just hand Athena her cloak. Athena, "Arachne cannot talk about me that way. If she refuses to apologize, I will make her pay for her boastful words. Her anguish will be great." And do you remember what anguish means? It means that the great pain or sorrow that she's fixing to feel is going to be very great, very big. Okay, new scene, scene 3. Now we're at Arachne's home, and there is a knock at the door. Arachne, "Who's there?" "Just an old woman with a question." Athena is hiding under her cloak, and she enters the room. Athena, "Is it true that you challenged the goddess Athena to a weaving competition?" Arachne, "Yes, that's right." Athena drops her cloak. Athena, "Well, I am Athena, and I'm here to compete with you." Diana, "Arachne, please don't. It is unwise to compete with a goddess." Arachne and Athena sit down at the empty looms and begin to weave furiously. So make some predictions. What do you think? Who do you think's going to win? Arachne says, "I am ready to win and get my reward." Athena, "There's no prize if you lose." Narrator. So this is where someone else would speak. Arachne and Athena both wove beautiful cloths. However, Arachne's cloth was filled with pictures of the gods being unkind. Athena, "Arachne, your weaving is beautiful, but I am insulted and upset by the pictures that you chose to weave. You are boastful, and your cloth is mean and unkind. For that, I will punish you." Athena points dramatically at Arachne, and Arachne falls behind her loom and crawls out as a spider. So what happened there is Athena got hurt at what she had put inside her loom, inside her little blanket or rug that she created. And so as a punishment, she turns her into a spider. Athena, "Arachne, you will spend the rest of your life weaving and living in your own web." Narrator. Arachne was mean and boastful, so Athena turned her into a spider. That's why spiders are now called arachnids. And this is true. Arachnids is the scientific term for spiders. Arachne learned that bragging and too much pride can lead to trouble. The end. Okay, so down here it says, what does Arachne value? What would you say that she valued throughout this lesson or throughout the story? I think she kind of valued her own, she felt like her skill was the best and put a lot of value into that. And how did that cause her trouble? It's okay to think that you're really good at something. That there's nothing wrong with thinking that you do a really good job at something. But to be boastful and prideful and to use it in the way that she used it just led her to trouble. And that can do that in real life too. I know this is a story we talked about being a myth, but you can take a lesson away from this in that it's not okay to be boastful and think that you're the best at something and not be humble about who you are. We talked about being humble a long time ago. And It's okay to feel like you do a good job at something, but you can be humble and respectful to others with that. So down here it says, applying the text to yourself, what do you value and why do you value it? So think to yourself about something that you think maybe you're really good at riding your bike. I've had a lot of friends tell me they've learned to ride their bikes. But would this be something where you would want to challenge everyone in the world or challenge somebody that you know is really good? It's okay to think that you're good at riding your bike, but you can be humble about it too, okay? Okay, so we went through our story that had our vocabulary words, and yes, I know they had nothing to do with volcanoes or storms or tornadoes or hurricanes, but I felt like we should really study a Greek mythology because we didn't get to study one in the classroom. It wasn't just informational text or something like that. This is a different setting that I thought you would be interested in reading and learning about. So you also have a vocabulary assignment to go along with your vocabulary words. So if you need to look back in the story and rewind to go over the definitions, you can rewind and go back over your definitions before you answer your vocabulary worksheet. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and if you have any questions, you can send me anything on Seesaw or Google Classroom. Hope you all have a good week. Bye-bye.